Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Our first weather maker is coming up this evening. That's going to bring us a chance of some scattered showers. I'll show you what time we'll see the rain.
Parental permission required. Lawmakers plan to consider ways to get social media off the phones of young teens. We'll find out who's behind this push.
And leader of the pack, NC State men's basketball officially introduces its new head coach when fans can meet him in person.
Well, take a look at this picturesque view of North Hills, courtesy of our WRAL Live Cam network. It is just gorgeous out there right now. And judging by this view, hard to believe another round of rain is on its way for this evening. Good afternoon to you on this Tuesday. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. It also looks beautiful. Behind us is live view of Dorothea Dix Park. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is out enjoying the sunshine on the WRAL weather patio to give us a look at when the rain will start and how much we'll see.
You know, the timing on this is going to be fairly convenient. It's not likely to start until maybe right around or after the evening commute, kind of into dinner time. So you have all day. I mean, you know, those folks who don't get off work until 5 o'clock, maybe not. But a lot of folks have the day to get outside and enjoy this pretty weather. Here comes this next system. It's not looking terribly impressive, really. I'm not seeing a lot of rain along the warm front or the cold front, but there is some rain to the north of it. It is likely to kind of wrap around and move through our area later on this evening. Of course, big picture of that high pressure system is, of course, keeping things nice and dry for us as we get through the next little while. With this front, we're likely to see maybe a quarter of an inch of rain or so. It's not going to be much, not going to be anything that is heavy for us this afternoon, this evening and overnight tonight. And then it moves on out and we're looking at dry conditions for the rest of the week. So things are looking good for us. Our temperatures this afternoon feeling comfortable at around 70 degrees. We do have high fire danger for this afternoon, so do keep that in mind. And in the shade, it's cool. I've got to decide if I'm going to take this jacket off or not. It's borderline. It feels really lovely out here. We'll talk a little bit more about our next weather maker that could arrive over the weekend with some severe storms coming up in just a bit.
Elizabeth, thanks. Crews are busy cleaning up debris following this crash on US 1 South. It happened around 9 this morning in Franklin County, and you could see trash all over the road from this view from Sky 5. The road is closed near Burt Winston Road near Youngsville. It's unclear how many vehicles were involved in the crash and if there were any injuries. We'll continue to gather information and update you on air and online.
This time last year, NC State basketball was making a real Cinderella run toward the Final Four. Today, they introduced their new head basketball coach. And Will Wade will have that introductory news conference at Reynolds Coliseum. 1 o'clock is the time for that. WRAL's Pat Welter joins us now from Reynolds, where you're looking live there. Pat, what do you think we can expect to learn from today's news conference?
Well, Jeff, today is all about the future of NC State men's basketball and a really big commitment being made to it. Will Wade was the #1 name in this hiring cycle, and NC State got him. Of course, we all remember NC State making that run to the Final Four last year. They missed not only the NCAA tournament this year, but the ACC tournament as well. That's what got Kevin Keatts fired, but Will Wade says he can win big and win big at NC State. That's what he told Athletic Director Boo Corrigan during the interview process. And today, we're going to hear him speak for the first time to fans and media at 1 o'clock. Wade, coming off 2 straight NCAA tournament trips with McNeese. Prior to that, he took LSU to the NCAA tournament 3 times, but couldn't coach 2 of them due to NCAA recruiting violations. Now, the irony is that NC State was involved in the same federal investigation, and the things Wade did are essentially legal now. So we've seen coaches leave this conference the last few years, legendary names, Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Jim Boeheim as well, for, recognizing that college basketball is not the sport that they knew and loved. But Will Wade seems like a guy uniquely coached, fit to coach the modern game. So we're going to hear him speak, tell us his plans for how he plans to win here at 1 o'clock. Fans can meet him at Coach's Corner outside Reynolds Coliseum at 3. Jeff?
Yeah, Pat, and I know you picked up on this. All the analysts throughout this weekend of basketball were talking about this and had big, kind words to say about the job he'll do. And as you reported, Wade will formally be introduced less than an hour from now at Reynolds Coliseum. The event is closed to the public. We will live stream it on WRAL.com and WRAL News Plus.
How young is too young to have a social media account? Some state lawmakers want to require parental permission for children under 14 years old to create an account. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie joins us live from the General Assembly and has some reaction from parents. Laura.
Yeah, actually, the bill would ban social media accounts for anyone under 14. So with or without parental permission, at ages 14 and 15, teens would need their parents' permission to create a social media account. The companies that own TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they all say that they already have a minimum age of 13 years old to create an account. But a lot of kids have already figured out how to get around those guardrails. This bill would hold social media companies accountable for stopping them. Cynthia Marshall teaches middle school in Wilkes County. She likes the idea. She says many of her students are already on social media in middle school, and the effects she sees in the classroom are not positive.
There's just so many terms, video exposures, recordings, silly things that, shouldn't be allowed for parents to not have that control over.
What concerns you about it?
The maturity level, because they're exposed, to so many things on the internet and Instagram and Facebook that they're not mature enough for.
That's Cynthia's husband, Richard Marshall. They have a child in 5th grade themselves, and they say they do not plan for that child to be on social media anytime soon. Until this morning, this bill was scheduled for a hearing this afternoon. It was pulled off the calendar. We're trying to find out why. I've also reached out to the lobbyists who represent these companies, Meta, TikTok, Google, etc. We will bring you with their comment later today. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A state House committee advanced a bipartisan bill this morning that would ban all hemp products from public school grounds. Tobacco and illegal hemp products are already banned. The new measure singles out Delta 8 and Delta 9. Those products are legal, but sometimes contain more than the legal amount of THC, the psychoactive component found in marijuana. The bill would also prohibit vaping in school systems that don't already have a ban. It still needs support from the full House, the Senate, and the governor to become law.
President Donald Trump is downplaying a security breach that led to a reporter being included on a chat with senior administration officials who were planning a military attack. In a phone interview with NBC this morning, the president called the situation a glitch. Trump added that his national security advisor, Mike Waltz, who is at the heart of this story, has learned a lesson. NBC's Garrick Hake reports.
This morning, the Trump administration digging in as the fallout grows over that text chat bombshell. The top officials discussed secret U.S. military plans in a group chat on the encrypted messaging app Signal, with the Atlantic magazine's top editor inadvertently included. Jeffrey Goldberg said he was added to the chat by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who the Atlantic reports texted information about, quote, targets, weapons, and attack sequencing to be used in bombing targets in Yemen, speaking yesterday.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
Goldberg responding overnight.
No, that's a lie. He was texting war plans. He was texting attack plans.
Goldberg says on the morning of March 15, Hegseth notified the chat of an upcoming attack.
Including human targets. Meant to be killed in that attack, weapons systems, even weather reports. It was a minute-by-minute accounting of what was about to happen.
Around 2 hours later, he says, reports came in of explosions in Yemen. Though he chose not to publish the most sensitive information, Goldberg sharing other screenshots of the group weighing in, including the CIA director writing, quote, a good start after the attack, even celebratory emojis posted by Waltz. Before Hegseth sent the plans, the group, including Vice President J.D. Vance, debated. Vance saying he thought the operation was a mistake, adding, quote, I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. The group later agreed to go forward. Vance's team now saying he and the president have discussed the matter and, quote, we are in complete agreement. President Trump on Monday denying any knowledge of the story.
I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
A National Security Council spokesman telling the Atlantic its reporting, quote, appears to be an authentic message chain, and arguing there were no threats to troops or national security.
That was Garrett Haake reporting. Former First Lady, former Secretary of State, and Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton chimed in on the report on X, writing, quote, "You have got to be kidding." You might recall Clinton drew intense criticism from Republicans about a decade ago for her use of a private email server. In an appearance on Fox News in November 2016, Hegspeth called Clinton's use of the email server criminal.
A global energy company announced plans today to invest more than $700 million into its U.S. operations by 2027. The plan also includes a new robotics center in Raleigh. So this announcement by Schneider Electric comes as energy demand surge amid rapid growth in advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, and data infrastructure. The expansion would create more than 1,000 jobs across the country. The company didn't say immediately how many of those jobs would be in North Carolina. Taking a look at stocks now after Monday's rally, not a whole lot of dramatic swings for the markets right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down about 30 points. S&P 500 staying flat. NASDAQ is up 47 points at this hour.
Well, right now, next at noon, wilderness survival, a plane crash in a remote frozen lake in Alaska, how a man and 2 kids walked away.
Also, a winning formula for women, the popularity of sports bars focusing on female athletics.
Plus, big budget decisions for Wake County schools, the increases and cuts being discussed.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Good Samaritans are being credited with rescuing a man and 2 children after a plane crashed on an icy lake in Alaska.
The trio was reported missing Sunday after they did not land when they were expected. A pilot who has a background in search and rescue started his own search when he heard about the missing plane. Roughly 12 hours later, all 3 were located on the wing and taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
I was really shocked. I didn't expect that we would find him, and I didn't expect that we would find him alive for sure. I've done a little bit of search and rescue before, and it doesn't always turn out this well.
Investigators plan to speak with the pilot to determine the cause of the crash and to work on recovering the plane.
Pretty incredible. We will see a battle of the Blues in the NCAA women's basketball tournament. 3-seeded UNC will play the 2nd-seed Duke in the round of 16 Friday in Birmingham, Alabama. Tip-off for that one is 2:30 p.m. Tar Heels advanced with a 58-47 win over West Virginia last night at Carmichael Arena. They've played Duke twice already this season. They split those matchups. Each team has won 1 time, so whoever wins this 3rd matchup will then advance to the tournament's round of 8 this weekend. NC State is also on its way to the round of 16. Wolfpack women advanced with an 83-49 win over Michigan State yesterday at Reynolds Coliseum. So they'll play LSU in the next round in Spokane, Washington. That game is Friday night at 7 o'clock.
New businesses are capitalizing off the surging popularity of women's sports. Basketball tournaments draw fans who are hungry for exciting games in a supportive atmosphere. Kevin Cork takes a look at this winning business model.
At first glance, the 99ers Sports Bar in Denver might look like your average watering hole to swing by for a game. But if you look closer, you'll see that this bar is helping to shake up the industry, all by catering to an underserved base of sports fans.
A lot of your typical sports bars, you have to ask to put women's sports on the TVs, and half the time they tell you no.
The 99er Sports Bar and a growing number of others just like it are dedicated to women's sports. The business model has been taking off over the years, with many places hoping to capitalize on the growing popularity of women's sports and the uptick in March Madness viewership as the tournament commences.
We are putting in a lot of time to be really intentional with the TVs and how we're doing everything.
Pictures and jerseys of female athletes hang on the walls, and TVs are fixed to various women's games.
Historically, I've not been a huge sports fan, but with the league exploding and then spaces like this really exploding, it's just been like a really exciting time to watch women's basketball. So started coming here. It's been great.
While it's only been open for a few months, owners of the 99ers Sports Bar say business is hitting nothing but net.
I wish I would have had this space growing up.
And that was Kevin Cork reporting. Dozens more women's sports bars expected to open across the country by the end of this year.
Big business with all three of our Triangle teams, women's teams advancing, still in play in the Sweet 16. Good stuff. All right, maybe an outdoor bar with a patio out there. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center on that patio right now in that sunshine, Elizabeth.
It is a patio kind of day for sure today. I was really on the fence about jacket, no jacket, and I took the jacket off, and it is comfortable. This is kind of a thin dress here, but it's comfortable out here for sure. All right, here's our low pressure system. It's going to come swinging through, helping to bring us some showers this evening. We'll roll through Futurecast, and we'll pause it there right around 5 o'clock, and you can see just a few isolated showers, especially from, say, Durham northward, mainly up around South Hill or Roxborough. We'll push it on forward and pause it again at 7, and still a lot of that rain is in our northern counties, Durham up towards South Hill and Rocky Mount. Between 8 and 9, it begins to drift a little farther south. So looking at Raleigh, Rocky Mount, Roxborough over towards Southern Pines. And then by midnight, it's mostly out of the viewing area. It clears on out. And then temperatures will start to drop. It'll be a colder start tomorrow morning than it was this morning. We're looking at mainly mid-40s tomorrow morning. Taking a look at our hour-by-hour rain chance. Again, it starts to ramp up between 6 and 8 o'clock in our western counties and then moving eastward. And it's with again, up until around 1 o'clock in the morning. It's definitely beautiful out here. We even have a few folks out wandering around taking a look. I would say one more week and we're going to have a lot of color in the garden behind us. There are a few of the bushes, the azalea bushes, that are starting to maybe pop 1 or 2 blooms, but we still, for it to be glorious, another week, 2 weeks, getting into April is when it typically peaks. 64 is our current temperature. Our dew point's 30, looking at 71 this afternoon, so very comfortable outside. Nice low humidity, nice dry, feeling very good out here. Our temperatures currently are in the low to mid 60s, except down in Fayetteville, it's 68 degrees there, aiming for about 75 for the high there this afternoon. In Apex, it's 63, along with Cary, 62 in Durham, 63 Knightdale, and in Garner. So get comfortable all across the viewing area. It looked like we might see some winds gusting up to maybe 15, 20 this afternoon, but so far, at least up until now, the winds have been fairly light, around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Not a lot of gusts, but just to be safe, the Weather Service did put us under another brush fire risk. Folks in the mountains where we've had so much destruction from Helene also dealing with a lot of fires right now. And so we do have a high fire danger across the state, even here. Our tree pollen also high out in the parking lot, looking at all the cars with all the yellow pine pollen on them. Our temperatures this afternoon in the low to mid 70s. So besides the pollen, it looks lovely. We will see our clouds increasing this afternoon. So we may not see quite as pretty a sunset tonight as we did last night. Nagari Hubbard of Henderson sent us that beautiful photo. I love it. We love your Report It photos. Go to WRAL.com/report it and send us a few. Here's what you need to know. A little later in the week, Thursday morning, we could hit 37 degrees. That's going to be the coldest morning by far. And we could have a little bit of patchy frost, especially from the Triangle area northward. We'll be talking more about that as we get closer to Thursday morning, but just something to kind of put on your radar. Once we get past that, temperatures are warm Saturday and Sunday. In just a few minutes, we're going to talk about our severe threat for Monday.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you. 0% contained. 3 wildfires still burning in western North Carolina. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, the Polk County Fire Marshal explains the extraordinary conditions crews are battling right now.
And then on WRAL News at 5, hospital targeted. An Israeli airstrike leaves a hospital in flames. We hear from a North Carolina surgeon who is there volunteering. Plus, still ahead this noon, price crunch. Some consumers are ditching their sweet and savory snacks. How businesses plan to help turn the tide.
Also, power play, how some managers can use employees with a specific personality trait to increase their bottom line. Know anyone with narcissistic personality disorder? Well, people diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder can have a variety of symptoms, including an inflated sense of self-importance, cravings for success, and a willingness to exploit others for their own gain. And get this, researchers say at times companies can leverage this personality trait to their advantage, especially when it comes to sales positions. But they advise against hiring people with narcissistic traits for positions, requiring them to abide by strict ethical standards.
Because they'll bend the rules. Whereas if you want somebody to be results oriented and go out and get it done, no matter the cost, then you might want to consider rule bender language.
Experts recommend maintaining some professional distance, protecting your own emotional health, and seeking extra support when dealing with coworkers who exhibit narcissistic personality disorder. Lucky for us, Jeff, we do not have any coworkers that fit this description.
That's right. We get them out. Prepare to pay more for travel perks on one airline. United plans to increase fees for the annual airport lounge membership, as well as its rewards credit cards. The move is in an effort to make the cards more valuable to customers. The carrier announced the changes alongside sign-up bonuses for its co-branded cards from JP Morgan Chase. The fees also come with benefits, including rideshare credits, upgrades to extra legroom seats, as well as award flight discounts. Boeing reportedly wants to withdraw a guilty plea in a long-running criminal case tied to two deadly 737 MAX jetliner crashes. Last year, Boeing agreed to a deal with the Department of Justice. The company planned to plead guilty to a single felony charge and pay a $243 million fine, as well as invest nearly $500 million in its compliance and safety programs. Now Boeing is pursuing more lenient treatment from the Justice Department.
Live Nation has agreed to pay investors $20 million to settle a lawsuit over alleged antitrust practices. The group claimed Ticketmaster's parent company lied to them about its vulnerability to antitrust complaints. Last year, the DOJ and dozens of states filed a case with the aim of breaking up Live Nation and Ticketmaster. They claim the companies formed an illegal monopoly in the live music industry. That case is pending.
A group of high schoolers from here in the Triangle took home the title of North Carolina's top junior chefs. The Knights of Culinary team from Durham Public Schools Northern High won first place at this year's competition. They made a chipotle beef and sweet potato skillet, and now the students advanced to compete at the regional level. Southeast Junior Chef Competition will be at Sullivan University in Kentucky this May.
Meeting in the middle. School board members will chime in on the superintendent's budget proposal, the cuts and increases needed to keep the school system on track.
And the cost of college, the price of higher education, is soaring. We'll explain how you can get ahead. And here, have a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Covering Wake County, school system leaders today will consider budget changes that could have a big effect on your child's school.
WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains the superintendent is proposing some budget increases, but some possible cuts as well.
We'll hear from Wake school leaders for the first time today after Superintendent Robert Taylor sent in his budget proposal. They'll be meeting here inside the school district's headquarters later today. Last week, we told you about how the superintendent is proposing to cut several positions, including some high school secretary roles. This way, the district can afford more students, new schools, and increased pay. For now, the plan would keep some of those employees on the payroll. They would just have different positions since their current roles would be cut. The superintendent also wants to request more money from the county. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains school leaders' response to possible federal funding cuts.
school district officials and the school board are basically acting as if they're going to have the same federal funding level for some of the normal, typical things that they get. Title I funding for schools that have higher concentration of lower income students, students with disabilities.
School leaders are only offering their feedback today. There won't be a vote, but the district's final budget proposal is due on May 15th. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Cary.
Later today, the Wake County School Board will, for the first time, talk about a new policy to restrict cell phone use in schools. Right now, each Wake school sets its own rules for cell phones, but teachers and parents say those aren't working. The school board wants to set its own policy for all schools. For more on what Wake Schools is trying to do and what parents and experts think about it, go to the education section of WRAL.com. Tonight, Durham educators will rally for union recognition. The Durham Association of Educators will hold a public meeting at 6 tonight at the Staff Development Center. Organizers say Durham Public School Superintendent Anthony Lewis will be there. They plan to gather for a rally a half hour before the meeting. The educators have been fighting for union recognition for 14 months.
The Trump administration is canceling dozens of National Institutes of Health grants funding health equity research. Experts were told so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion studies are often used to support unlawful discrimination on the basis of race. Some grants include a project studying autism in girls, as well as several related to HIV. Ending AIDS in the United States by 2030 was one of President Trump's stated priorities in his 2019 State of the Union speech. The second Trump administration appears to be making cuts to research funding. Another grant that was eliminated includes work studying black maternal and fetal health. A WRAL documentary revealed black women are twice more likely to die during childbirth than white women in North Carolina. Critical Term examines the maternal and infant crisis and the steps being taken to address the situation. You can watch it anytime on WRAL.com.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we have just learned that 5 high-level CDC officials are stepping down from the agency. This follows 3 other departures in recent weeks. Now, they're described as retirements. They were not announced publicly. This means close to a third of the agency's top management is leaving or has left recently. The announcements come a day after the White House announced that it was nominating Susan Monterez to be the CDC director. Now, of course, it is not clear how much influence or if any influence it had on the leader's decisions to leave. But again, 5 high-level leaders leaving the CDC.
Michelle, thanks. The cost of college has skyrocketed in the last 30 years. Why is college so expensive? Jen Sullivan looks at the numbers and what students can do to help cut down the costs.
The cost of college has risen dramatically in the last 3 decades. Inflation and increasing operating costs have caused colleges to charge more. They're also receiving less federal funding.
There's no doubt that college in the U.S. is expensive.
Alex Gailey is an analyst at financial company Bankrate. They recently broke down the cost of tuition plus fees like room and board for this current academic year and estimated the average in-state tuition and room and board at a public 4-year college was nearly $25,000 a year. Out-of-state students paid an average of $44,000 a year. A private 4-year college costs close to $59,000 a year.
I think people just aren't feeling like maybe the ROI of college degrees is the same as it was a few decades ago.
There are things students can do to lower some of these costs.
One way to immediately cut down the cost of college is being willing to attend a college that is near where you live and living at home.
Consider attending a community college and then transferring to a 4-year college. Apply for work-study jobs, look into financial help like student loans, scholarships, and grants, and choose a degree with a positive return on your investment.
And that was Jen Sullivan reporting. You can start saving for your child's future by opening or contributing to an NC 529 college savings account. Let time be your friend and let that investment grow. The funds can be used to cover tuition, books, fees, room and board, a computer, and more. You can also use it for career and technical education expenses as long as the school is on the federal student aid list. Go to cfnc.org to learn more.
Today, Raleigh police officers took a stroll down Haywood Street as part of their Cops on the Block initiative. This event is designed to help connect officers with the neighborhoods they serve. Neighbors were able to ask officers questions and share their concerns. Raleigh Police first implemented Cops on the Block in 2022, and new police chief Rico Boyce is bringing the event back to the city. We spoke with one neighbor who was surprised when she saw Chief Boyce at her front door.
It's unusual, but it is kind of nice to kind of know who's patrolling and, you know, a presence in your neighborhood.
A spokesperson for Raleigh Police says they plan to bring Cops on the Block to every district in the city, and we're working to get an update on when those dates will be announced.
Chatting with a chatbot, why experts are linking the frequency of it to risk of loneliness.
And lessons in responsibility, why having your children do chores is good for them and you. Our team is working to bring you exclusive stories for coverage you'll find only on WRAL. Visit WRAL.com and search only.
Welcome back. You're looking live at the Raleigh skyline. Look at how beautiful it is right now with all that sunshine. You're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. We could see rain tonight, though.
Eating meals in less than 20 minutes could lead to some health problems. One health expert says eating too fast could lead to some health problems because it takes 20 minutes for the stomach to tell the brain it's full. If a person eats too quickly, they miss those signs and then overeat. People who chow down may also swallow more air, resulting in bloating or indigestion. The most active chatbot users could feel the loneliest. Studies from OpenAI and MIT Media Lab show the amount of time someone spends with a chatbot is usually linked to how lonely they feel. OpenAI's study shows most users do not have deep emotional conversations with chatbots, while the MIT study found with chatbot reduced socialization among the users. Both studies show interacting with chatbots could have a psychological impact on human users.
Whether it's cleaning, doing laundry, or grocery shopping, most of us can agree that chores are a part of life as an adult. What about when it comes to kids? Should they have chores? And if so, what kind? One psychologist says chores can offer many benefits, such as understanding that we have to take care of responsibilities before we can go play. Chores can also help kids learn about time management.
Sometimes people call it bribery. We often call it reinforcement, and that's up to the family. Sometimes it's just expected that the kids are going to do these things without question, and other families do provide positive reinforcement. Kids are not going to be internally motivated to do these chores, so sometimes it does help to apply some external motivation to get it done.
Doctors suggest caregivers model good behavior. They believe if your child sees you doing chores around the house, they'll be more likely to do them as well. Sharing the lift.
Yeah, I tried it, didn't seem to work. Chaos in the cosmos. NASA experts believe they know what caused this interesting cloud formation, why it could be the start of something big.
Also, unsavory prices. Many people are cutting back on buying sweet and salty snacks. How companies hope to bounce back from shrinking sales. The Sweet 16 is now set for the men's college basketball tournament, and millions of people share one thing in common. Their brackets are busted. About 34 million people filled out the brackets on various platforms before the tournament started. Right now, not a single entry has picked all of the teams correctly. Not a single one. The tournament has already seen some pretty big upsets, including McNeese State taking down Clemson. The games resume Thursday.
We are looking at the snack food slowdown. It's not just a healthy lifestyle that is motivating some people to cut back on their snacks, but unsavory prices for the favorite chips and cookies. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans has the story.
The snack food aisle is getting hit with a serious price crunch, leaving some customers at the checkout line with little to smile about.
When did this small bag that was 99 cents become $2.69?
A recent survey finding 42% of people are so fed up with high prices, they're leaving snack food off their grocery lists and buying fewer sweet and salty treats.
it significantly helped my grocery bill.
And food giants are feeling the bite of that cost cutback. General Mills reporting a slowdown in sales for its snack categories, while Campbell's, the owner of Goldfish and Snyder's pretzel brands, saw a 3% sales drop in the latest quarter. Last month, PepsiCo, the owner of Frito-Lay, also reporting its salty and savory offerings underperformed, with people buying 3% fewer snacks. Though its CEO is optimistic business will bounce back.
We have to continue to give value to consumers in terms of portion sizes or entry points or value packs.
Between the bird flu outbreak, tariffs, and a rapidly changing climate affecting food production, prices are expected to keep growing at above average rates. The cost of a bag of chips now nearly $6.50, up about 30% compared with prices in 2021. And although cookie prices have dropped slightly since last year, they still cost nearly $5 on average.
We have rising food costs, and we have, people are trying to be healthier now. And there's also weight loss medications.
And companies are feeding into new strategies, from unpredictable flavors.
This is real. We're getting Wendy's Baconator Cheez-Its.
To going viral, with a recent global survey finding 60% of people are motivated to try a new snack they see on social media.
Finally got my hands on these Post Malone Oreos.
Leaving brands craving for customers trying to become the next big thing.
They're doing their best to keep up, but ultimately, a dollar is a dollar is a dollar.
And it doesn't go as far as it used to.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah, price is a huge motivator.
And the shrinkflation, the bag's small.
That's right. And then when you get older, you can't eat as much, your metabolism, trying to cut down on the snacks.
I still find a way.
I'm just sitting there trying to eat some popcorn, But I love my Cheetos.
Speaking of popcorn, favorite snack for Elizabeth Gardner, popcorn girls out on the patio right now.
In the weather center.
I almost always have a whole bag of popcorn, and over the week, I whittle it down. Usually, about a bag a week. But guys, I kind of laid off the popcorn a little bit. It's been years, and so I'm taking a little popcorn break at the moment. But I'm sure I'll get right back to it. Oh, it's so beautiful out here right now. It feels fantastic. Taking a live look at Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, and Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill, of course, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. We're seeing sunshine everywhere. So it's a nice mild day. Temperatures in the low 70s, low humidity. Pollen, yes, that's going to be the thing. We'll see increasing clouds later this afternoon, but honestly, from where I'm standing right here, I can't even see a cloud in the sky at the moment. Some rain, though, rolls in around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, depending on where you are. And then, of course, we're watching the chance for another system to roll through, maybe Sunday into Monday. This one here, it's moving closer to us, but it really doesn't have much precipitation associated with it just yet. I mean, the radar is really dry on this. We take a look at 3:15. We may start to see a few showers developing off to our west. We'll roll it forward and pause it right there at 5 o'clock. A couple of isolated showers, mainly Roxborough up towards South Hill, maybe as far south as Durham. And then even at 7, we're still kind of seeing that maybe along and north of I-85. And then finally, closer to 8 or 9, it begins to sink farther south. So Southern Pines, Raleigh, Rocky Mount up around 9 o'clock, and then just kind of slides slowly on out. The amount of rain that we see out of this tonight is going to be minimal, enough to settle the dust, enough to kind of dampen down the pollen just briefly, but it's going to come right on back tomorrow and the rest of the week, unfortunately. I mean, look at these really light rainfall amounts, and we're talking about maybe 1/10 of an inch or so. We're dry. We have our next big weather maker really is going to be the low temperature tomorrow night as we drop down into the 30s in some places, but then we jump right on into the 80s for highs on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, I've got the yellow light for outdoor plans. Just keep your eye out, keep checking back with us. We do have a front that'll come through. It may be that we see some scattered storms late on Sunday, but it looks more likely on Monday. And if it keeps slowing down like that, we may not have to worry about it at all on Sunday. Right now, the severe weather threat there in the yellow box is well to our west, but then Monday it's sitting over us, and so that's when we'll have the chance of some severe storms. We'll walk through it. The current timeline is that we're dry Sunday morning at 8 a.m., and then we push that ahead, and around the middle of the day into the early afternoon or mid-afternoon, we start to see that round of some showers and storms, and then another front comes through on Monday. So we'll continue to watch that for you and keep our eye out for that severe threat potentially late Sunday into Monday. Otherwise, the weekend really looks pretty with those temperatures in the low 80s for highs.
Thanks, Elizabeth. A metallic monolith springs up in a remote area. This isn't the first time the shiny structures have been discovered. Why some are convinced it is not used to communicate with space beings.
Oh, no fun. And here are winning Powerball numbers: 6, 23, 35, 36, 47. The Powerball is 12. The multiplier is 2. We wrap things up with a look right now at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. A Wake County man is facing charges for possessing weapons of mass destruction. According to Wake County Sheriff's Office deputies, they were called to Banks Road near Spring Farm Road, where 43-year-old Aaron Dool was reportedly firing a gun in his front yard. Deputies searched the property and found controlled substances, bomb-making material, and what appeared to be a metal pipe bomb. Dool was arrested and charged with several felonies.
Crews are busy cleaning up debris following a crash on US 1 South. This happened around 9 this morning in Franklin County. You can see trash all over the road from this view from Sky 5. The road is closed near Burt Winston Road. That's near Youngsville. It's unclear how many vehicles were involved in the crash and if there were any injuries.
A state House committee advanced a bipartisan bill this morning that would ban all hemp products from public school grounds. Tobacco and illegal hemp products are already banned. The new measure singles out Delta 8 and Delta 9. Those products are legal, but sometimes contain more than the legal amount of THC, the psychoactive component found in marijuana.
NASA now knows the origin of a new frothy image. This is a random alignment of Herbig Haro 4950, nicknamed the Cosmic Tornado because of its helical appearance. They are outflows produced by jets launched from a nearby forming star. The outflows can extend for light years, which create shock waves. The material heats to higher temperatures and then cools, emitting visible light.
Translation? That's awesome.
It is.
Another mysterious monolith out west. This one showed up near a public art display outside Las Vegas last week. Officials say it was installed without permission, so they will have to remove it. The tinsel tower measures about 12 feet tall. It has a QR code on it that appears to be connected to a cryptocurrency website. Our pet of the day is a 17-pound gentle beagle searching for a patient and loving family. This is Gilbert. A sweet boy would thrive in a home with another confident dog to help him feel secure, show him the ropes. Loves going on walks, eagerly sniffing all the wonderful scents along the way. Gilbert is making great progress in learning to trust people, and with time, love, and a secure environment, he will reward his forever family with unwavering devotion. You can learn more about adopting Gilbert by visiting trybeagles.org.
That is one photogenic face. 0% contained. 3 wildfires still burning in western North Carolina. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, the Polk County Fire Marshal explains the extraordinary conditions that crews are faced with.
I think Elizabeth had it right. Out there, outside, on a patio, somewhere in the sunshine. NBC News Daily is headed your way next on WRAL. Your next local news update is in 30 minutes.
Or you could be soaking up the sun at Dix Park, as we already see some folks out there. You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a wonderful Tuesday.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.